Episode 148. My heart is the same as yours. Just as she was about to slide down the wall, she put her hand on his neck, and the two of them came closer together. She did not reject him, nor did she want to push him away. She even took the initiative to respond to him. She stuck out her tongue and intertwined it with Dario's. When Dario's kiss almost suffocated her, he hugged her tightly again and began to suck her tender neck, her chest rising and falling. Finally, through her pajamas, he used his mouth to hold one of the small bumps on her chest. What made her even more embarrassed was that he even used his teeth to nibble lightly. Something that she had never experienced before continuously spread in Jade's body. She did not know what kind of feeling this was. She only knew that her body slowly began to feel strange. It was as strange as the last time she was drugged. Her entire body was hot. Mr. Foster, what are you doing?" At this moment, Jade's voice was exceptionally soft. It was so soft that it could melt one's bones. It was this wave of unintentional, coquettish panting that immediately made Dario's lower abdomen heat up. His throat began to go dry, making him suck even more forcefully. "I'm eating you," Dario said with a hoarse, patient voice as he moved to her earlobe. He kissed her earlobe and touched her chest with his other hand. When she felt the hot hand touch her sensitive parts, Jade's body could not help but tremble. That unusual feeling became even stronger. Mr. Foster, don't do this, okay?" Jade squinted her eyes and couldn't help but gasp. When this voice came out of her mouth, even she herself thought it was actually some other charming person. Did that voice really come out of her mouth? When Dario heard her, he could not keep it together any longer, and his movements became even more ferocious. "Do you still want to call me Mr. Foster? Really?" Dario kissed her earlobe and walked around her even more brazenly. Before Jade could react, his hands had already reached into her pajamas and touched her smooth skin. "What else should I call you?" Jade said with difficulty breathing. Now her entire body was weak and she was completely controlled by Dario. "Of course you should call me hubby, or maybe you should call me by name." Dario's hand had already reached under her skirt. He could easily touch her round butt through her thin underwear. Mr. Foster, don't be like this." Jade's body felt more and more strange. She wanted to take Dario's hand away, but with her strength, she definitely could not resist him. This made him even more willful in her pajamas. Under his touch, her skin seemed to have become even redder. The ring on her hand was sparkling. It was even more dazzling than the bright moon. "I'm going to eat you." Dario, who had long been aroused by love, moved closer to her ear. "How are you going to eat me?" Jade answered in a daze, completely out of her control. She only felt him whisper in her ear, "You'll know later." She was carried to the soft waterbed by him. Because of the vibration, the water in the bed continuously rippled, and Jade's body swayed along with it. Dario turned on the dim light on the bed, and the atmosphere immediately became uncertain. Jade's body felt this unknown fear and tensed up. She did not dare to move at all. "Be good and relax." Dario's magic voice sounded in her ear. After that, he began to kiss her face gently. Every movement was very focused and serious. It was also very gentle. He kissed her on her eyebrows, eyes, nose, and then a little bit lower. Jade's originally clear eyes were now covered with a layer of fog. A strange feeling spread in her heart. She felt his kiss landing on her face and then his hand gently caressing her body. She went from resisting at the beginning to accepting and adapting. Under his gentle, long foreplay, Jade actually felt by the end that she somewhat liked this feeling. She liked being kissed by him like this and being touched by him like this. There were even a few times when she could not help but make an unfamiliar, coquettish cry. Every time she wanted to let out a strange sound in her throat, she would bite her lip tightly, not wanting to let herself cry out. However, she did not know that her reluctant manner had aroused Dario's interest even more. It made him want to tease her even more to make her make these sounds under his body. "Come over and help me take off my clothes." Dario pulled her little hand and asked her to take off her clothes too. Jade was in a daze and did not refuse. When she took off her underwear, she felt awkward. His member was already high up and wanted to break out. The tight underwear could not hide what was inside. Jade was shocked and quickly retracted her hand. She was very shy. Although this had happened before, she could still not accept simply doing this kind of thing. Dario did not force her. He took off his clothes and threw them to the side. He pressed himself tightly to her body. Even through the fabric of her pajamas, she could clearly feel something hot was pressing against her private part. She took a deep breath and felt a numbing and somewhat comfortable feeling coming from her lower body. Because she was afraid, she couldn't help but reach out her hand to grab his arm and dig her nails in. But Dario didn't care about such a small matter. He buried his head in front of her chest. An inexplicable sense of pleasure, like a wave, overcame Jade. "Mr. Foster." Jade grabbed at his strong arm helplessly, because this was her first time doing this. She did not know what to do next. She was very nervous and could not stop trembling. Dario comforted her and kissed her lips. Using an extremely seductive voice, he lured her. "Don't be afraid, I'm here." For some reason, Jade heard his voice and felt his kiss and immediately felt less afraid. But she did not know if she should continue because she still had questions in her heart. "Mr. Foster, do you really want to do that to me? Then what will you do to me after?" Jade lifted her head and looked into his eyes that were filled with desire. She had to ask clearly, "My heart is the same as yours." Dario did not answer her directly. Instead, he replied with these words. Then he gently kissed her lips. When she heard Dario's answer, she immediately felt relieved. She felt that the uneasiness and doubts of the past half a month ago had been resolved. He said that his feelings were the same as hers. That meant that he was also like her, that he cared about her too.